And welcome to another episode of Takaro Kids. This week, Kiran and I happen to be in the same city.
Seminole. Yeah, it's the first time ever in our short history that we are together recording this podcast.
Exactly. And this one's going to be a nice roundup of everything that's happening around the world. So stay tuned because there's a lot of news coming your way. Okay, so one of the first stories that we wanted to quickly update you about was what's happening in Gaza. Now, if you remember, there's been a really, really bad war that's been going on in Gaza between the Israelis and the Palestinians. Now, the origins of this war go back a century. It's one of the longest running and most violent disputes in the world, right?
Yeah, it is. And I think it became really bad in October of 23, right? When the Hamas actually got in and they started kind of attacking the Israeli citizens and Israeli cities. So it started really becoming a very, very aggressive, very, very, I would say, terrible war, right?
Yeah.
You know, there's been a lot of wars, a lot of fighting, but it just went to a completely different level. So hopefully this week we have a beginning of some good news, and then next week we'll hopefully have good news. Who knows? Let's keep fingers crossed.
Because now, finally, after thousands and thousands of people lost their lives, have lost their homes, their livelihoods, everything, we're finally talking about a ceasefire deal, which is basically when, two countries are fighting. A ceasefire literally means stop firing, right? And this deal has been discussed multiple times. Many countries have been trying to broker this deal. They're trying to mediate between the two, between the Israelis and Hamas specifically, saying that, hey, why don't you agree on these terms so we can just stop all this violence? Qatar has been playing a very important role, in fact, in this.
I think it's amazing. Actually, the Qatari Prime Minister is the one who's responsible for bringing both these, one is a country, one is a group, bringing both these parties together and to talk about potentially a ceasefire, release of prisoners, consolidation basically between the two.
Yeah, and release of those hostages that were taken in October by the Hamas, Israeli hostages. That's been basically the big bone of contention. Around 250 hostages were taken by Hamas. So we're hoping for good news. There's still a lot of ground that needs to be covered because there's a lot of negotiations going on. People are not happy with the agreement so far. But at least, it's somewhere.
Hopefully, as I said, in the next week or two, hopefully it kind of results in some good news.
Yeah.
But as we move further west for our next story, this is LA, and you may have already heard about it. There are massive forest fires and wildfires in LA, which is really, really killing the ecosystem over there. Right? It's destroying forests, it's destroying homes, it's destroying a lot of property. So many people have been evacuated.
Okay, so firstly, what is a wildfire, right? A wildfire is something that is unplanned. It's basically literally what it says, right? It's a fire that starts out usually through natural causes. It could be a lightning strike on really dry leaves and trees. And this could start a fire which then just starts spreading. You need certain conditions for a wildfire to spread, which is basically, the drier forest, which is usually during the winter, right? Because all the leaves have fallen, it's really dry. Catches on quickly and then it spreads.
And I think another big part of a wildfire is the fact that if there are certain wind conditions, right? So there are certain winds. I mean, I don't know how many of y'all are learning about it in geography. There are different types of wind patterns that happen through the year in different parts of the world. So over here, there's actually strong winds called the Santa Ana winds. There's a lot of that which helps the fire jump from tree to tree to tree to tree and to properties. And so that makes it even worse.
Yeah, and it's been so bad because now LA or Los Angeles is home to Hollywood.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and it's home. You must have seen the picture of that big Hollywood sign.
Of course.
That is safe, by the way. But a lot of homes and really, really, wealthy people actually have also lost their homes. A lot of communities have been completely devastated. We're talking about acres and acres. We're talking about 12,000 buildings that have been completely gutted because this wildfire just spread through their communities.
Yeah, it's pretty sad, but what they're saying is it's starting to reduce because the winds have stopped being as aggressive. So the winds are getting calmer, and that's kind of helping the entire wildfire reduce in terms of, the intensity.
But what I'm most curious about, though, about this wildfire is what really started it. And there's an investigation that is ongoing in terms of, trying to figure out, like I said, it could be a natural cause, but it could also be something started by humans.
Yep.
Right? It could also have connections to climate change, right? So we need to get to the bottom of this because, something like this can affect so many lives again. And there has to be a way to stop it. They have not been able to stop it in spite of all the might of the US services, the firefighters. They've been, firefighters brought in from other parts.
I don't know if you saw this, but they've been actually flying aeroplanes which are dropping a pink or reddish substance.
Okay.
And so all of LA is now covered in pink and red substance. Now that pink and red substance is very good to kill the fire, right? And let it not spread. But apparently it's a chemical which destroys nature and is terrible for wildlife and all of that. So, all of those consequences as well, that's really terrible.
Yeah. I mean, the things you have to do, right? But finally, it looks like it's under control and hopefully people can start again rebuilding their lives there. And the next story is about one of the largest ever congregations in the whole entire world.
Ever.
Ever. Exactly.
Of humanity.
Yes.
Yeah.
And this is, if you haven't guessed it already, it's about the Mahakumbh Mela, which is taking place in India right now. And, when we are talking about biggest, they are estimating that this is 450 million people.
That's crazy.
Who are going to come together over a period of 45 days. But still, that's insane.
That's bigger than the US.
Yeah,
That's more people than those who live in the US. Think about it. There are more people than those who live in the US who are going to be at this one place celebrating the Mahakumbh.
Yeah, the population of the US is 340 million.
Yeah.
And we're talking about 450 million. So why is the Mahakumbh Mela a big deal? Because it happens every 12 years where millions and millions of people across India, in fact, even other countries, come together. And the idea is to come towards these special rivers, holy rivers, and it's a big spiritual fair. And there's actually a really cool story behind this, right? So basically it goes like this. So according to Hindu mythology, there was a fight between gods and demons over a magical pot. Now Kumbh means pot.
Okay.
Right? It was full of Amrit or nectar. This nectar was supposed to give you like immortality and
you live forever.
Yeah. So this pot was in the ocean, so the gods and demons worked together. I don't know if you've heard of this called the Samudra Manthan. Basically, they used this huge snake and they churned the ocean.
I even remember the picture. There's a huge snake and both sides people are kind of like pulling each other. It's almost like a tug of war, right?
Exactly, but except they're churning. Right? They use this big pole to churn the ocean so that this pot of Amrit or nectar comes out of the ocean. And then instead of cooperating once it came out, because they worked together all this time, they started fighting. And when they started fighting, 4 drops of nectar fell in 4 different locations across India. That is what made these places special. And for the Kumbh Mela, people go to these 4 places at a certain time when the stars and moon and everything aligns, because they believe that, if you have a bath in the rivers at that time, you're going to be completely cleansed, like all your sins will be washed away.
Isn't that easy? The interesting part also is why it happens once every 12 years. Because again, according to Hindu mythology, you have the alignment of stars and you have the alignment of, various celestial objects which have to come together to create this event. And in fact, over here, It's actually the alignment and the position of Jupiter,
Oh, okay.
which happens
I didn't
once
know that.
every 12 years to kind of create that event.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's amazing. Now, quiz time for all of you who are listening. This one, maybe you might have to, do a little bit of research, and we want you to go and find out. Do you know what the 4 sacred places are where the Kumbh Mela takes place, where these 4 drops of nectar fell when the demons and gods were fighting?
Yeah. And all 4 of them have to do with rivers. So, there are specific locations at specific rivers. So,
Yeah.
which is also very interesting.
It is.
So,
it is.
yeah.
By the way, another tidbit coming up. Do you know that India has 400 rivers?
Wow. What?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow,
yeah.
that's crazy.
It's amazing, right? And 400 rivers, many major rivers, many smaller rivers, obviously.
Oh, I didn't know that.
But 400 rivers. And while you're doing your research, look up this thing. India also has a mythical, invisible river. Do you know the name of that river? Tell us. If you
Yeah.
do.
Which is why the Mahakumbh happens where it happens in the main location has this mythical.
Don't give up too much
Okay.
information.
Okay.
Okay. So this festival is so massive. Can you imagine what a logistical nightmare it must be?
Yeah. 400 million people over 45 days. I mean, even if you average it out, that is like 10 million people every day, right? Which is, wow. Bigger than the size of Bangalore or close to the size of Bangalore? Yeah.
I wouldn't even guess.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they put up these tents. It's like a huge campsite. The
Yeah.
temporary tents that are created. And it's supposed to be quite a sight because there are all these sadhus. Sadhus are basically hermits. They dress in orange and there are a lot of skills. You have Naga sadhus who come and they do all these special tricks.
Yep.
So that's it. That's a wrap up of all the big news stories happening across the world. Right now, we have, as we mentioned, there was a quiz there for you. If you do, send us the right answer.
Send it in because every week one lucky person gets a gift card and we've been giving them out last couple of times. So it could be you.
Yes, it could be you. I'll just repeat the question. There are 2 questions. This is like a twofold thing. What are the 4 places where the Kumbh Mela takes place? The 4 holy sites. And what is that mythical, invisible river in India that the Kumbh Mela also takes place at?
Yep.
Okay.
And that brings us to the end of this week's episode. As always, we're either on Instagram and we're also on our website, which is
www.takarokids.com. So you have to just go in there, send in your answer, and let us know what you want us to cover in the next episode as well. We'd love to hear from you. Until next time, it's goodbye from us.
bye-bye.